time for What's Trending. The Baylor win was tough, Dave. It really was. A double overtime grinder where neither team ran for 3 yards a carry. It wasn't 1980s whack.
No.
It was not that. Now the Cougars face a 25th ranked Oregon team seeking its first FBS win for its new head coach Dan Lanning, formerly the DC at Georgia and that amazing defense last year. Boy, did he get a look at his old guys in the first game.
Yeah.
Third best home win streak in the country at 20 games. Oregon's really tough at home. Is the Oregon game going to be tougher for BYU than the Baylor game?
I think it'll be tougher different for sure. Tougher because it's on the road for BYU. We saw what the crowd did to Baylor when they had to do it. We've seen what the crowd did to Arizona State, what it did to Utah, what it did to Virginia in the second half last year. BYU's rock is part of the game. Well, Oregon's got a crowd too. Their decibel level's way up. The students aren't in until the 27th.
They start way late.
Yeah.
I should have gone to Oregon.
Yeah. That whole Pac-12 thing
Jeez.
They're a little bit late to everything.
Nice.
I think it'll be interesting to see the crowd. BYU will have some fans in there, but it won't be anything, of course, like a home game. But I do like Jaron Hall as the quarterback in that setting. If there's ever a calming element on the football team or whatever, it's him. He doesn't turn it over. He beats those guys. He's 7-1 against P5s. I like him leading the team in there, and I think they have a very good chance to win the game. If it was one of the younger guys, then it'd be like, well, I'm not sure what's going to happen. But Hall marches in with a plan, and he executes it. And so it's another toss-up game. I thought Baylor was a toss-up game coming in. And neither team turned it over. Some missed kicks and go to overtime. Seems to be that's how a toss-up game should end. The last possession. So we'll see. What do you think?
I think Baylor is a better team than Oregon. So when it comes to just straight up on the field, that part, no, I don't think it's tougher. But I do think it's tougher because if you say, well, Oregon is a very good team. I don't know if Oregon's great, but they're certainly good to very good, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to know with the two extremes against Georgia and Eastern Washington. Georgia, you get a field goal. Eastern Washington, you score a touchdown on the first 9 drives, like domination. 40 first downs, by the way, a program record for Oregon. So it's hard to know. But this we do know. It's going to be a tough road venue. It's an afternoon game on a Saturday. BYU's built to win whenever, but especially on Saturday night at home. But I like what you talked about there. Jaron Hall and this team are not going to give in to the poison of being ranked 12th. Remember, BYU was 5-0 and ranked 10th last year, surprised by Boise State. There would be no surprise here. Oregon is known for its speed, of course, but they do have some power element to them. The win streak at home is certainly notable. But BYU is a ranked team itself and is coming in as the underdog, which I kind of like in this. Because not everything is tipping BYU's way, although a lot of experts are saying, absolutely, BYU's going to win. BYU's got a better quarterback and a better offensive line. I don't believe this is going to be the slog that it was Saturday night against Baylor in the trenches. BYU couldn't run and still won, but neither could Baylor. And Baylor didn't have the quarterback that BYU has. Bo Nix certainly has experience at Auburn, and the OC for Oregon was at Auburn in 2019. That's the connection there. That's why I went to Eugene. BYU's got that part of it going. Also, the experience of being in Autzen for a couple of guys I think matters. Christopher Brooks has played in Autzen. In fact, I went to a game in 2019 that I've referenced this week where I saw Cal play Oregon. Christopher Brooks scores a touchdown in that game receiving. He's played 4 games against Oregon. Not a ton of success, 3.2 yards per carry. But he didn't have the offensive line that BYU has going into this game. Kalani Sitake at Utah and at Oregon State, notably in the Civil War, has coached 4 times against Oregon. He's been in Autzen for, it was more than that actually, at least 4 times as an opposing coach. So Kalani knows what it's like to be there. But ultimately, this comes down to those players executing on the field. Oregon didn't have a 20-plus yard pass play against an FCS team last week. I think BYU comes in more powerful on the offensive line with a better offense. Tons of experience. I think this is the most experienced team BYU's ever had thanks to COVID. And then the Ducks defensively still figuring it out. Just 2 sacks and 6 TFLs through 2 games. Again, that includes an FCS team. I think BYU's the better team, and I think they'll show up and play like it.
These aren't the same Ducks that we've watched the last little while. The one, their coach left for another job. Now, they're rebuilding. These are the Ducks rebuilding. They got plenty of 4 and 5 stars, mostly 4 stars, on the recruiting thing. But
I know they lost a 5-star.
They did lose a 5-star, and he's going back. But it's interesting. They haven't played well as of late. They've lost 4 of their last 6. Got beat by Utah twice. Got pounded by Georgia, who's the best team in the country. But this BYU game to them is a measuring stick for the Ducks.
Sure.
Does it forgive them getting pounded by Georgia? To the biased East Coast media, absolutely it does. They'll probably rank them 5th in the country if they beat BYU.
They were ranked, what, 11th?
I don't understand those guys.
Out of the gate?
Yeah, last year they should have been out of the poll for the last 2 months, or at least the last month. If
The Ohio State
win in there.
Carried a lot of weight.
Yeah. And so I think they're trying to find themselves, but BYU's not walking into Autzen 5 years ago facing those Ducks that were thinking about national championships and stuff. These Ducks aren't even thinking about that. They're thinking, can they compete with Utah in the Pac-12?
Yes, can they win the North again? Because they have the last 3 years. Although Washington didn't go, Oregon went in their place.
And the Pac-12's been so bad as of late. Maybe USC rises everybody up.
Perhaps. And we'll talk about that coming up with John Wilner, who thinks BYU is better than USC in his Best in the West poll. We'll say whether we agree later. But it's interesting because if this BYU team can't go there and do it, what BYU team could?
Right.
Because they're so experienced. You got the senior quarterback. You mentioned the stat we've loved this week, which is Jaron Hall 7-1 versus P5s. He's 3-0 against ranked P5s, I believe. Never has a BYU team or a BYU quarterback been as prepared to go in like this. And we're gonna address this coming up a little bit later as well. Is that 1990 game? You'd think that team was better prepared than this team, right? Ranked top 5 in the country, eventual Heisman winner at Oregon. Rumor has it they drenched the field before to just slow BYU down. Is BYU known for speed in that way? I don't know.
No.
But that team didn't go in and win that day. I think this team is more prepared than the traditional WAC and Mountain West teams, Dave. Not only from an extra year from COVID, but they've played schedules that no other groups in BYU history have. So when they walk into Oregon, they can pull on, no, we played at Tennessee, we played at USC, we played at Wisconsin. We've won those 3 particular games. We've lost our share, but we know what it takes to win, and we've got the horses. BYU has the horses in a way that I can't remember walking into a season being this confident about BYU's ability to go win this game before.
Especially after beating Baylor. Now, in August, it was like, okay, Baylor's probably going to be the toughest game.
We thought Notre Dame.
Yeah, it's Notre Dame, and now they're gone. But after the Baylor win, now it's all of a sudden, okay, well, now we got to go to Oregon. Well, that was always going to be tough, and it is tough. But this BYU team under Jaron Hall doesn't turn the ball over. Hall's 7-1 against P5s. In those 7 wins, 3 turnovers. That's it. And one of those turnovers, Tyler Algier got back. So 2 turnovers in 7 wins against P5 at home, on the road, and on a neutral location. So if BYU goes in Saturday and takes care of the football, those are the teams that win on the road.
Absolutely.
So I like that number, and I like this team with that quarterback to go do that.
I believe this game will be messier than the Baylor game in terms of turnovers. I think a few happen here. It's whether BYU can win that turnover battle. Because when you're on the road, you got to take care of the ball. And Aaron Roderick told us last year in preparation for the game on BYU TV, Jaron Hall doesn't give the ball away. And BYU's got a nice 1-2 punch with Christopher Brooks. Hopefully it's a rebound game that way. And if you can't run on Baylor, it's okay. Baylor's front 7 was super legit. Yeah. I believe that Oregon has a good defense, but not as strong as Baylor's front 7. I believe the back end for Oregon is probably stronger than the back end for Baylor. But we'll see if that BYU defense can replicate that performance, Dave, because Baylor's inability to run with an inexperienced quarterback, that combo was good. Under 300 yards allowed, 20 points allowed in double OT. That was an amazing performance from the BYU defense.
Yeah, and the guys weren't open downfield. BYU sacked Shapen 4 times, as we showed you on AFR on Tuesday, or on the BYU TV app whenever you want. There was nobody open. They had a couple of balls. What did he throw for 120-something yards or something?
Nothing.
But we showed you plays where there's just nobody open.
Yep.
And you know what? Oregon's receivers aren't any faster than Baylor's receivers. Baylor's receivers are the Big 12 champion receivers. They haven't had bad recruiting classes, and they just could not get open. Can Oregon's guys just magically get open because they got an O on their helmet?
Or a Nike.
Or a Nike.
Which BYU has as well.
Not on this secondary. This secondary is good. The defensive line was the question coming in. Their first big test was not South Florida. They had 21-0 after 3 possessions or whatever. The first big test was against Baylor, and they returned 4 offensive line starters, and BYU sacked their quarterback 4 times. And then they had him running a few other times. An A. What the first test? The defensive line gets an A. against Baylor, number 9 in the country. Can they?
We didn't even give them an A against South Florida.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Can they do that again? I don't know if they have to do that again. Will they hold their ground? Yeah, that's what they do now. And they got guys behind them that hold their ground. The 4 linebackers, 5 if you count Tanavasa, are healthy and playing great. Keenan Peely in the backfield as the quarterback. It was so interesting to watch him make sure everyone was in position. Man, did they miss that last year after he went down with his ACL.
Huge difference.
Now they're going on the road. You know, they had a tough road game at Baylor. It was loud, a good team, whatever, and there's no Peely. You know, now they go into an environment like that, and your defensive quarterback and your offensive quarterback are at the top of their games. And I think that is huge in this kind of environment. We'll see, but man, going in, I like your confidence, because if you look at the personnel, the better team is the visiting team coming into this game.
Which is pretty wild. Vegas thinks otherwise. Home field getting some...
3.5 for home field.
Yep, almost 4.
And you know what? Had Oldroyd made a kick, Vegas would have been spot on last week, as BYU was a 3-point favorite against Baylor.
Well then.
Now, they know what they're doing down there. And home field really is about 3 points.
It matters.